decided to paint our house. Picking a color was very cumbersome. We narrowed it and kept narrowing it and kept changing our minds. And as we realized, once we had our color, it led to another project. Our porch had fallen over the years, and of course, we like it enclosed, or rather, the cat likes it enclosed. So I was like, we really should prop this up versus having it caulked. See, we removed the caulk, which was no easy endeavor. It was about 2 hours of scraping and poking and prodding to get the caulk to come out. The next step was to figure out how to lift the wall. I came home from my dog walks to see that my husband had made the wall go up by using a jack. The next step is to figure out how to keep everything in place and lift the wall. We have to anchor a 2x4, a treated 2x4, to the cement and make sure that it's high enough to actually lift the wall. And we need to do it in sections and secure it to the actual wall. You gotta have fun while you work. Though we did keep hitting our head on this, so I had to figure out some way to stop us from banging our heads. Now, what I hadn't realized is that we were going to have to cut some of the metal pieces that actually attach the wall to the ground. And those metal pieces will actually get attached to the 2x4s. The tricky part was not only did the porch fall, but it pushed the wall out a little bit. So finding level was quite the endeavor. The multi-tool came in very handy. We got our wall up. It took about a day. We had to stair step it down with treated 2x4s, and there's sections where we didn't need a 2x4 at all. So our next step is to get some backer rod and some expanded foam and try to fill in the cracks, and we need to start working with the trim on the outside. If you notice, can you see the paw prints on the trim? We had left it out before we started working on it, and some creature decided to walk all over it with muddy paw prints. It's a good thing they're power washing our house before we actually paint. Otherwise, we'd have paw prints. We realized when we were attaching our trim, we were going to need to come up with a way to seal all the spots and not have gaps, which means we had to get our miter saw, or what I call the chop saw, out and try to figure out an angle to make it a smooth transition from one side to the next. Now, measuring an angle was quite the endeavor. Was it close? Yes. But our chop saw wasn't big enough, so we had to hand saw some of the angles. This was quite the process. We had to measure a piece, cut it straight down. Measure a piece, cut it at an angle. Measure a piece, cut it straight down. Measure a piece, cut it at an angle. Well, you get the idea. So we're creating some angles for our trim so we can fill in the gaps. And we have 5 fun with angles pieces that we have to cut out. To remember them, we're on our post 3. So we have a number 3 there. And this should match there. And then these pieces go with the post 3. So when they originally built our porch back in the 70s, they didn't leave enough gap here. So our plan was to have these angles here, but this is too big here. So when we pull that out, looks so much better without that. But then this side has to have an angle. But it works. We've got the trim attached and we caulked it up. It's looking really good. but there's a lot left to do. It's amazing when you think, oh, I'm done. And then you realize, nope, you've got A, B, C, and D left. Next step, it was to get the expanded foam into all of the sections to make sure that it's really sealed. And we had bunnies living under our patio, so we really needed to get them out and get the expanded foam in before they took root.
Back a rod, back a rod.
We scraped off all of the expanded foam so it was a smooth finish and everything was really nicely sealed up, and we were starting to prime it. It's really coming along, and the cat was ecstatic that she had her porch back. When it was opened up, she wasn't able to come out, and not a happy camper. So she was like, okay, Mom, I'm good. I wish we were ready to be completely done, but there are parts where it hadn't fallen that we have to seal it up better and get some expanded foam in there and clean up the concrete. But if you live in Colorado, May is a tricky thing. And winter, spring storms. Wait, a spring storm hit us, and we really got pounded. I was amazed at how much snow we got. Thank goodness I brought some of my plants in, otherwise, they would be toast. Our poor trees. I'm not sure how many of them are going to survive. We really have a lot of broken branches. Thank goodness we had the part that had fallen sealed up, because it would have been a mess. Now we got a lot of outdoor cleanup to do, so it may be a bit before we get back to our porch. Thus, let's stop here for this week. The outside really looks incredible. If you remember what it looked like, oh my goodness. I'm very pleased with the outdoor results. And the indoor is so close, but that's going to have to be an entirely new video. Thanks so much.